Don't crash. Welcome to another video. We are on our way to Provincetown, Massachusetts. Provincetown is about 2 hours from where we live in Fall River, and it's a pretty easy drive. We like going to Provincetown because there's lots to do there. It's a lot of fun. There's a tremendous gay culture there. Everybody's nice. There's lots of dogs. Bobbins will meet 100 dogs in the next 2 days. And there's bike trails. Like you'll see in this video, we've got a seat for the dog, and he absolutely loves going on the bike. So a little bit of history about Provincetown. It turns out the Pilgrims landed there, and originally Provincetown was called Cape Cod. It was named Cape Cod because there were tons and tons of codfish there. They were catching fish like crazy. The Pilgrims decided to sail on over to Plymouth, where it was a little bit less exposed to weather than Provincetown is. But a fishing community ended up staying at Provincetown, which flourished into the late 1800s. And then early 1900-ish started to decline. And then in the 60s and 70s, there was a lot of surplus space in Provincetown because the fishing businesses had moved out. And surplus space attracts artists. It was a cheap place to go. Artists don't make a lot of money, but they need a lot of space. So it was a cheap place to go and get a big space and do your art thing in this really cool little community. And that's what sort of lit the tourist thing on fire in Provincetown. So Provincetown has become a tourist mecca. It is one of the most expensive places to visit in the United States. So if you know me, you'll know I'm pretty frugal. And so how are we going to stay in Provincetown without spending a lot of money? And that's where the Wingamm camper comes in. There are two campgrounds in Provincetown. One is called Dunes Edge, and the other is called Coastal Acres. Coastal Acres is kind of built on a swamp. You can bring big campers in there, but it's really buggy in the summertime because it's just so close to water. The Dunes Edge Campground is the campground we prefer, but it can't accommodate big rigs. So if you have a big camper, you pretty much can't go there. There might be one or two sites you could fit in, but that's about it. We like to we like to go to the van sites. And so this camper fits perfectly in every site at Dunes Edge that says it can accommodate a van. If the site doesn't say it'll accommodate a van, then it will not accommodate this vehicle will not fit there. So our favorite sites at Dunes Edge are 68 and 69 if we're only staying for a couple days and we don't need power. Those are the cheapest sites that I think are really good. And then on sort of the other side of this hill, there's site 77 and site 81, and there's one site between 77 and 81 that I can't remember the site number, but there are 3 sites in a row: 77 and the one I can't remember, and 81. And those 3 are really good sites if you need power. It's $10 more a night, you know. So if we're only going to stay 3 nights, and the 300 amp hour battery in this camper will have no problem going 3 nights. If we were going to stay like 5 nights or 7 nights, then I would do site 81 or 77 or the one that's in between. And the reason why I like all those sites is that they're on the other side of the campground. There aren't sites nearby. They're very private, and they're also quiet. I mean, occasionally you can hear the road, but you can't hear other people and people locking their cars over and over again and stuff like that. You know, it just doesn't happen on that side of the campground. Going to Provincetown, especially this year, you should expect traffic. They are resurfacing the Sagamore Bridge. We're going to take the Bourne Bridge, but they're resurfacing the Sagamore, so a lot of traffic that would normally go on the Sagamore is going on the Bourne. And even though I am going on this is a Monday at 8:30 a.m. There's still a bit of a traffic jam. It's only a 7-minute delay. But if you go on the wrong day, you could expect to spend an hour or more in traffic here. But while we're in a traffic jam, that brings up an important point. Provincetown's population during the winter is 4,000 people. Provincetown's population during the summer is 60,000 people. I think that's 15 times the number of people. And that's a huge change in population. So we're going over the Bourne Bridge right now, and there's a fabulous view. Bob, look at the view. Look, that we're going over the Cape Cod Canal. They dug this canal so that boats wouldn't have to go around the whole Cape. It was a shortcut, and it's still in use today. And this view is just breathtaking from the bridge. You got to be careful driving over this bridge, though. If you notice, there's a curb on the right-hand side that is about 2 feet tall, and that curb is famous for ripping off parts of recreational vehicles. So you want to be a little careful crossing this bridge. The most important thing you can bring with you when you're going to Provincetown is a bicycle. Do not try to drive around Provincetown. You will end up in traffic. You'll end up with people angry with you. It's not worth it. And especially avoid Commercial Street because it can turn into gridlock very quickly between pedestrians and cars. Commercial Street is the center of Provincetown. Like everything that's well, not everything, but most of the stuff that's happening is happening on Commercial Street. Commercial Street also has my favorite store, the Provincetown Fudge Factory. They make these dark chocolate peanut butter cups there that will like blow your mind. And also the toffee there is like out of this world. It's a wonderful store. But Provincetown in general is wonderful. Bob loves going on the bicycle. There's miles and miles of bike paths with fabulous views. And then you can go to the Provincetown Monument and check out the history of the town. So there's a lot of things to do and a lot of fun to be had. My biggest single expense when I'm on the road is gasoline. And so efficiency is really important to me. And one of the things that's absolutely wonderful about this camper is how efficient it is. Right now, I'm getting 17.5 miles per gallon. I get 17 miles per gallon in this camper like almost all the time. Even doing like 75 miles an hour, I'm getting 17 miles per gallon. Now, that being said, you know, I don't do 70 up hills. I do what truckers do. I slow down on the uphill, and then I'll do 70 miles an hour on flat and 70 miles an hour on downhill when speed limit permitting. That being said, though, there's a lot of things that can impact gas mileage. When I was driving from New Mexico to Texas, I got 20.5 miles per gallon, which is like outstanding. But I think the reason why I got that really great fuel efficiency is because I was going a little bit downhill, and perhaps there was a little bit of a tailwind that day. So there's things other than just the speed limit that impact your mileage. Like even a rainstorm, you think about you're driving through a rainstorm, you think about all the rain that's hitting the camper, and that's all weight. Like those impacts of raindrops on the front of the camper are little taps that are like slowing you down a little bit. So there's this marginal decrease in fuel efficiency in rainstorms. You can have huge decreases in fuel efficiency in windy conditions. But like I said, in general, I get 17.5 miles per gallon, about 17 miles per gallon in this camper. Another thing, though, that impacts gas mileage in this camper is charging the main batteries. If the main batteries are like really low, really low. If the main batteries are at 50%, then the DC to DC charger is going to kick in, and that DC to DC charger is pulling power from the engine and sending it to the batteries to recharge it, and it spins an alternator under the hood to generate that power. Well, spinning that alternator creates resistance. So when that battery charger is on, you actually lose about 2 miles per gallon from your fuel efficiency. So instead of getting 17 miles per gallon, if I'm recharging the main battery, I'll get about 15 miles per gallon. Now, because that charger is so big, it recharges the main batteries pretty quickly. It's pumping 50 amps into the main batteries. So it only if you're at 50%, it'll only take 3 hours of driving to recharge the batteries back up to 100%. And as soon as the main batteries are at 100%, then your fuel efficiency goes right back up to what it was. Right now, there's this crazy war in Iran, and fuel prices have skyrocketed. And I think they're going to go up a lot more. So I'm really grateful that I made the choice to move into this like small, compact, fuel-efficient RV, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to afford gasoline to do my little trips like this. We are almost home. What a great trip. I want to show you how we did for fuel efficiency. Now let me see if I can do this. And it looks like 211 miles, 4 hours, 45 minutes drive time. And then for fuel efficiency, 18.7 miles per gallon. And if you look at the fuel gauge, it looks like we've used about a half a tank of gas. So that means it's going to cost about $50 to refill the tank. Going through all the expenses, the whole trip, I think, so 3 nights is $60 a night, $180 plus the gas, $230. Went out to eat with Bobbins yesterday. That was another $30. I don't know, it was under $300 for the whole trip. And it was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you want to share any comments about Provincetown or fuel efficiency or anything you want down below, I'd be happy to hear what you have to say. I hope you have a great day.